Welcome to Lawyers Who Care, the video show podcast that highlights attorneys who go above and beyond for their clients. And on each episode, we will meet a new lawyer and they will share stories of when they went beyond legal counsel for the benefit of their client. My name is Andrew Samalin. I'm the principal of Samalin Wealth, a nationally recognized wealth management firm for lawyers, their firms, and their clients. And let's applaud lawyers who care and learn from them. Today, my guest is Melissa Goodstein. Melissa practices collaborative divorce and mediation in Katonah, New York, and throughout Westchester. Welcome, Melissa.
Welcome, Andy, and so glad that I can join you today to speak.
So, Melissa, tell us about how you came to the law.
I came to the law in a not a traditional way. I came to the law as a tool in which to practice in a field, which was I initially wanted to go into the entertainment field and do like television programming, but focus on family programming because I studied the family structure when I was in an undergrad at college, and segued somehow into thinking that I can get into that industry by having a law degree, and then opportunity arose that I had an opportunity to work during law school at a family law firm and developed a passion with working with families in that way. And that's how I began.
By the way, before we go into your practice methods, just as an aside, you off camera in the last 10, 15 years, you've been telling me about some of the shows that you've been watching, and what shows are you watching now, and what Broadway plays are you going to recently?
Oh, wow. Well, I saw Stereophonic. That was the last play that I saw, which was unbelievable. The last show that I really liked was, well, I like a few. Some of them are a little offbeat, so let me just edit that. But Shrinking. I like anything on Apple TV. They have such great programming, and Shrinking is just an amazing. I really enjoyed that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, by the way, so you have a matrimonial focus for sure, and you've been doing this for decades. And there are platform differences that clients can choose to take. They can litigate, they can mediate, they can do collaborative work. Can you share with us a little bit what your focus is and maybe how you separate your practice from others?
Yeah. So, as the road when I began my career, it was fortuitous at the law school that I went to, did have the first mediation clinic in the entire country in a law school. So I was introduced to the concept of mediation back when I was a law student, and really embraced that idea about really focusing on interests and needs as a way of negotiating a settlement that would be best for families. And so I also thought that the adversarial process, for families really just ill-served their needs, because when you're taking a family in a relationship and you're working against each other, literally, it's an adversarial process. There is, certainly a lot of collateral damage that can happen, and more particularly with relationships. And I really started out my career, began a little bit in that litigation space, and I hated every minute of it, Andy. It was just wrenching work, heart-wrenching work. I felt like I was this destroyer of families, a family unit that I studied and revered during my studies in undergrad, and knowing that, families really are the cornerstone of our society, of our community. And divorce doesn't end a family, it ends a marriage, and you need to kind of redefine what your family is going to look like and support that in the way that the spouses want it to be supported, or the partners want to be supported. And if you can define what your family is going to look like, and based upon your values, what's most important to you, what your interests are, what your needs are, the outcomes are going to be better. And it's going to be better if you work with rather than against. Just energetically, there's better outcomes with that. And there's an expansiveness with opportunity. When you go from a place of being on position to interests and needs, it opens up a world of difference, and generationally a difference, because divorce can have catastrophic effects on a family intergenerationally. And if you can kind of stop that and kind of reassess and reflect and say, hey, What do I want? What do I need? What do I value? And fashion an agreement that speaks to that. I think mediation as a process choice, where you come together with a neutral facilitator as a trained mediator, I could be that person, or in the collaborative divorce process, where you work with an interdisciplinary team of professionals, attorneys. I can serve as a collaborative attorney. You have a mental health professional family specialist who works with families and developing and helping them sort out and evaluate options for parenting and communication that are conducive to supporting those relationships, as well as a financial professional like yourself, who I've worked with many times and successfully in coming in a neutral way to help develop strategies and options to help that family kind of work through and be financially as independent and as secure. So really having that range of support, but working cooperatively. And I think it's better outcomes when you can do that.
You just referenced the sentence, a divorce ends the marriage, it doesn't end the family. Have you said that to clients and prospective clients, and when they hear that, do they hold the process differently? Do they anticipate a different outcome? What does that look like for you as a
Yeah,
practitioner?
it's a hopeful way of looking at it, because
Mm-hmm.
you come into divorce, and in our culture, it's a negative connotation, and you're trying to remove that and say, hey, it's okay. Divorce, ending a marriage, there's no fault in New York, and most, I think in every state actually in the country, there's no fault. A marriage can end, but it doesn't end a family. And having that hopefulness to say, hey, we can restructure a future that is responsive to what our ideals are and what we want and what will make us happy, because everyone deserves to be happy. Really, life is way, way too short. It's precious. And if you can move forward with knowing that you've really address that in a full way and are able to kind of be hopeful that your family will be okay, I think that gives a sense of comfort and relief and safety and support. And I think that's what you're really looking for when you're ending a marriage. It could be one of the biggest traumatic events in someone's life. And I'm there to support and to say, hey, it's okay. It's all right. And the future can be a brighter one. And that's very comforting.
And so at the end of the case, how do you measure success?
That's a great
How do you
question.
measure something? Oh God, maybe I could have done something differently. But how do you measure success at the end of a case? And you have a very busy office. You have one of the more busy, mediation and collaborative offices in all of Westchester.
Well,
How do you measure that?
I measure that. Thank you, Andy, for those kind words. I measure that by them saying at the end, "Wow, I came out okay, and this agreement really reflects what is most important to me." I didn't get everything I wanted, because if I did, it's probably not going to be a good agreement, because my spouse then would have got it. It just wouldn't be balanced. But if it's equitable in how I define to be equitable, and compliance, how I know a good agreement is a good agreement is, quite frankly, if I don't really hear from my clients again, I know that I've done a good job.
Right.
If I've heard from them, which sometimes you do, I'm speaking to, working with a client this week who have to modify something, and that's okay. But they have a structure. And the most, actually relating to that, it was really gratifying to hear from them, because you know what, Andy, they already worked it out. They're like, Melissa, we already worked it out. We come to a resolution, and can you just draft it up for us? That to me was like unbelievable. They came together, they followed the agreement, and they took the agreement real seriously. They said, we need to change this, but we came together and talked about it, and this is what we came up with. Can you help us make it legal? Great. I'd be happy to do that.
Everyone, this has been the Lawyers Who Care video show podcast. My guest is Melissa Goodstein. Melissa practices in Katonah and throughout Westchester, the Melissa Goodstein Law and Mediation offices. Melissa, for those that want to contact you, can you share some ways, maybe your phone number twice, email, social?
Yeah. It's melissagoodstein.com, really, and my Gmail account. And I'm on social media. I'm also the past immediate president of the New York Association of Collaborative Professionals, and you'll see my presence on that website, the New York Association of Collaborative Professionals. And my number, 914-767-0438. But email is a great way, and you'll see me on there. I'm definitely on there. If you look for
Wonderful.
me.
And by the way, you're just you harped on you didn't harp on it. I'm going to harp on it. That your work as the president of the New York Association of Collaborative Professionals, the NYACP, you breathe life into that organization. You dedicate a lot of time to that organization, and the hundreds, I don't know the exact number of members, but they appreciate all that hard work that you do every day, and it takes an awful lot of time, and more importantly, it takes an awful lot of heart that you put towards that organization. And I think that organization and myself as a member appreciate all the work that you
Well,
do
thank you.
for them.
Thank you. I lead by my passion, and it's a great group of people to work with. But I thank you for that.
Great. Again, finally, this is the Lawyers Who Care podcast. If you're an attorney or know one that goes above and beyond, feel free to reach out to us, 914-666-6600. Melissa, thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you, Andy, for the opportunity.